The day we reached Everest Basecamp, we got up early. We were heading out of Lobuche before 7 a.m. I was still recovering from my bed rest day in Lobuche, but I felt better this morning, which is good. That day would be a big deal. According to the itinerary, we'd walk to Gorashep, drop off our gear, and head to base camp, and then back to Gorashep. All of us tourists seemed to be suffering except for maybe Umehani. Perhaps she just hit her discomfort well. Early in our route, we passed a research area. I would have liked to learn more about it. This climb, where the ant-like line of people stretched up the hill, was particularly tough. At the top of the climb, we got a really good view of the Khumbu Glacier. We rolled into Gorashep around 10:30. We marveled at the people getting off the helicopter just 2.25 miles from base camp. After lunch, we continued our trek to base camp. Much of the Khumbu Glacier looks like a rock-strewn desert with patches of snow, but I assure you, that snow is ice that could be hundreds of feet thick. As the glacier moves and melts down the valley, it collects debris. At this viewing area, the ice falls across the valley were particularly impressive. At about 1 p.m., we came to a viewing area. I didn't know it at the time, but this spot would be the best place to view Everest on the entire trek. I recorded an outro to A Good Mythical Morning, but like the others I've recorded, they haven't been used.
I'm David from Pleasant Hill, California, and I've been trekking in Nepal. That is Mount Everest. It's time to spin the wheel of mythicality.
Seren took a picture of me with Everest over my shoulder. Then it was a relatively flat path to the edge of the glacier. At this spot, you've got to leave your mules and horses behind. That's right, you can fly in a helicopter and ride a horse most of the way, but everyone has to walk this little bit. The path to the base camp walks the edge of a large cavity that overlooks a small lake filled with ice. We got to base camp about 2 p.m. It is marked with a large rock and a sign. Because base camp is on a glacier, each year it moves 3 or 4 feet down the valley. While we waited in line for our time with the big rock and the sign, I spent some time staring at the ground. I was collecting answers for an Earth geocache that I was hoping to log a find for. Nearby was incredibly long icicles. Sonam was enthralled by them. He collected this one and gave it to me. Unfortunately, I nearly immediately dropped it and it shattered. It was about here that Seren confided with me that this was the first time his nephew had been to base camp. I guess that explains his excitement. You kind of expect the guides and the porters to be, over it. A man on another trek brought a Palestinian flag. He was taking pictures of people with the flag to post on social media to raise money. He asked Hussein if his family would like to pose with the flag on the rock, so they did. We tried to get a group shot alone with the rock, but someone jumped on it just as the picture was snapped. But that's okay. Google Magic Eraser to the rescue. We stayed at base camp for about an hour and a half, absorbing the achievement. Everything after base camp would be epilogue. The walk back to the trail over the glacier was a little nerve-wracking, knowing we were walking back over that huge cavity in the ice. We were back at Gorashep about 5 p.m. I bought my first bottles of water in Nepal there. The local water is glacier runoff and therefore full of silt and would be bad for my filter. Also, I was told that the glacier runoff was full of heavy metals, so just boiling it wouldn't make it safe. We did one last pulse ox test after dinner, but at this point it was just formality. We were heading to lower elevation the next day no matter what. Our Everest Basecamp adventure had peaked, both emotionally and literally.